Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist, Eli.
How's it going?
And our retro aficionado, Unoclay.
Here we go.
What this organization needs is a man who can get dirty.
A man or a Pikachu?
Someone who'll go out there and scrape up any business he can, any way he can. From anybody who's got a couple of...
A man or a Pikachu who knows how to get dirty. A man who's willing to do whatever it takes to get this organization back on the road to Pokemon victory, guys. What's up? just a little Detective Pikachu wannabe voice quote there.
Yeah.
Since we're going to be talking about this week, I just figured I'd throw that in the mix, and then I will put myself on mute for the rest of the episode because Pokemon. Hey guys.
There's a bunch of other stuff. But we'll start off with our Game of All Times tournament.
By now you know the drill, but if you're some newbie just joining the show, at the start of the year, the four hosts of Just Another Castle each named our 8 favorite games of all time. Then, every week, 2 games go head-to-head, and the winner advances to the next round. In the end, 31 games will fall, and 1 game will rise above the rest to become Just Another Castle's official favorite game of all time. If you want to see the current brackets, head over to www.challenge.com/justanothercastle. That's challenge with an O. Also, sometimes our votes result in a tie, and you listeners can help settle the match. If you want to be part of the fun, follow Just Another Castle or the Mango Viking on Twitter, and you might get tagged to throw a tie-breaking vote. Leave luck to the heavens, and leave the pasta casserole to Matt's sister.
Oh, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Last week's winner was Pokemon Fire Red beating Super Mario Galaxy 2 3-1, as it should. And this week is Ocarina of Time versus Super Mario 64, which is weird because I think usually that ends up on the end of people's lists. But it's a couple episodes before that, so it'll be interesting to see what happens afterwards.
Yeah. Not every tournament always has the best match at the very end, I guess. Like,
no.
Not being a sports guy, but I think that's a thing. So, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. This is an interesting match. Like the 2 titans of a single console facing off before we're even in the finals, definitely.
I don't know. It's an easy choice for me.
Oh, geez.
Really?
Somebody wants to first.
Why don't you go first then?
No, I mean, I just think Ocarina of the Time is the better game here. I think that Super Mario 64 was great for its time, but there are far better 3D Mario games released since then. Several of them, actually. And because of that, I think Ocarina of Time, though not the best Zelda game, it is better than Super Mario 64. Because Ocarina of Time is just, I mean, I don't know how much more you can say in the game. It's almost like this whole open world. The dungeons are great. The characters are wonderfully zany. Yeah, I don't know how much more I can say in the game other than it's the better one.
Wow,
that's fair.
Wow, easy choice. That's wild. I don't want you to hint, Matt, which way you're going to go. I don't want you to hint. But is your choice as easy? Do you even know? Because I have to admit, even of this very moment, I don't know which one I'm voting. Like it's the knife's edge for me. Like for these 2 games, they're the yin and the yang of the N64. Like, and either game deserves to win, in my opinion. So it's really hard for me to decide. I could go next, but I'd rather you try to if you're gonna vote with Eli, then we're done here. And if you're gonna vote against Eli, I want to hear you convince me like which way you're going to go, because I don't even know. I'm torn, honestly. I can feel myself flipping back and forth. Like it's like there's such different games and such titans at the same time.
Yeah. Why don't you just keep talking there while I?
All right.
Well,
all right.
Just.
I mean, I've
recently, you don't have to vote.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I can rip into it. I mean, like I've recently been playing Mario 64 on the original hardware. And I just think it's a stunning game. It holds up a lot better. Okay, well there's a point I can make. If I was going to make a whiteboard of this, I'd say I think N64 Mario holds up better than Ocarina does in some ways, because I mean if we're not talking the remake of Ocarina, the graphic textures are much more vivid and bright, and I feel like hold up a bit better for Mario 64. If you're talking the remake, well, I never played the Mario 64 remake, but the Ocarina remake was genius and really needed to be done to bring that game into the modern age, and really effectively improved on a 10 out of 10 game, which is a neat trick. Go Nintendo. I don't know. I've played both of them, within the last 5 years in some form or another, and both of them just struck me as like, yeah, these are exactly as awesome as they were when they came out. If they've held the test of time. Like I said, I'm not voting based on what holds up better, but I really strongly feel N64 Mario holds up a little better, partly because Ocarina has become so dated as an open world game. We all know now the kind of the comic irony of going out into Hyrule Field and realizing it's smaller than like a village in a modern game, like it's like smaller than a village in Skyrim or something, and you're like, but back when I played it the first time, you're like, yeah, but now you can cross it like in like 30 seconds, or something on the horse. That said, that doesn't take away from the game's like awesome design overall. But those pieces show differently because Mario 64 is a different game, and to me, still plays like a Mario platformer and a bite-sized achievements and inside recycling the same worlds, but then upping the ante with different missions and different quests. And I still could go either way. This is like one of the toughest matches I could probably imagine to have to vote on in video gaming, because they both like, the N64 was a middling success for Nintendo. In some ways it was a huge success, other ways not so much. But those two games that would be on any sane person's like top of the system list, top 5 at the very minimum. I am going to vote Ocarina of Time because I think it was more impactful to me when I first played it. But that's like almost an insane thing to say because I don't think Mario 64 was any less impactful. The day I unboxed my system and started playing Mario 64, I just can remember the feeling of my head explode again and again. Like this is the future of games, said my head to my brain, and I couldn't believe it at the time, and I still can remember that feeling. But I think I'm gonna go Ocarina. For no other reason than that's my gut, and I can't really defend it because it's almost a tie. So Matt, there it is. That's my vote. But it's as close as a vote can be, and I welcome your opinion. Do you have an alternate opinion, or do we go 3-1, 3-0 on this one?
Honestly, I still have no clue. I'm looking at both games. To me, it's hard to judge because I think they're both equally great for what they do, and they're both so different. It's like, sure, I could say Mario because I would go back to it now, but that's more of like a time thing than like a flaw in the game itself. It's just Mario is easier to pick up and play because they're short, bite-sized levels, whereas Zelda, you have, a longer journey. So that's not a fault of the game. That's just how it's designed. And if you have that, the amount of time to sink in, then, it's worth it. But, man, I don't know, because I'm even looking at, like, the newer ones, like the 3D Ocarina of Time game versus, like, let's say an HD Mario 64. And, like, which one would be better, or, shows why one could be better than the other, and blah, blah, blah. And, man, I don't know. For no reason, I'll just say Mario just to say something different. Because it doesn't really matter anyway.
So, but for you, it sounds like you're saying what I said. It's so close you can barely decide. You're effectively saying it's that close. Yeah, isn't that wild? Eli, like when he said it was easy, I was like, really? Like that was like my reaction. Like it's easy to pick between these two games, I don't
know. Maybe it's just the fact that I didn't play Mario 64 when it first came out. I think that might be the reason. And I didn't play Zelda either when it first came out. So it's more like which plays best 15 years after it came out for me. So I think that's probably why. And I played the remake on 3DS of Ocarina. And I played the DS version of 64, which is going to be painful for some people to hear. So yeah, I think I
heard it was good. I never played it. Like I heard it was good. I heard you had to use like a thumbstick or a stylus or something like that. But Other than that, I heard good things from people that said it was a neat remake. You didn't think it was that good?
It's not that I didn't think it was that good, but I don't know. Like, it was good. It was just, I just think Ocarina is better. And I think because I didn't play it when it first came out, it didn't have the same like impact on me in terms of being like an incredible game.
Sure.
It was just like a fun platformer for me.
Sure. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, like everything imitated it. You likely played quite a number of games that were imitative of, well, both games in the time after they debuted, because they dropped like a mega bomb. I mean, you can still read any number of interviews online or with developers even today when they talk about things that influence them, and they'll happily cite seeing one or both of those games at like a show or a trade convention or at Space World or something, and they'll say like they can still remember not believing it was real. Is like a famous quote you hear from developers that were like around at the time when Mario 64 specifically dropped. They didn't think it was real. There are famous industry quotes that people thought it was a fake, that you couldn't possibly do that with hardware, like to show Mario in 3D space and be able to control it. And it's really like a tape. They're like Nintendo's showing us video of non-actual gameplay footage, and then people get their hands on it and have their brains explode, like that. I can still remember it, bringing it home and turning it on, and all my roommates like were around it, like not even wanting to play it, just like staring at it, like what in the fuck? Because you have to remember, up to that point, games were 2D. The idea of a 3D game was so limited. It was limited to like really specific PC experiences on high-end computers, and they didn't look anything like that. They didn't look like frickin' Mario. They usually looked like wireframe or more technical in some manner or another. Certainly Mario wasn't the first 3D game in any stretch of the imagination, but that's huge that you would be able to acknowledge that. It's like, yeah, you didn't play it when it first dropped, so the power of the game is going to be a little bit less even when you go back to it. So I hear that. That's fair. I feel really bad voting against it. I've been playing it on and off this year, like a couple stages at a time. I think I have like 70 stars on my save file right now to the whatever 120 or something that it has, and each one I just sit there and I'm like, this game's freaking amazing, But yeah, Ocarina maybe a little. Maybe they're both equally revolutionary. I can't even say anything about the revolutionary status.
Yeah, both of them have been influences on the industry, whether it's Zelda Z targeting or Mario's just being able to do 3D platforming, right? But
totally.
So there we go. Ocarina of Time wins. It's
moves on.
Either not a surprise or it doesn't really matter because they're both good anyway. So I guess we'll just get on to what we've been playing.
Nice.
I played a couple things this week. I played a game called My Hero Academia One's Justice for a review. That should go out this week. A pretty fun fighting game. I don't want to say if it's like deep or not, because I'm not really that into fighting games, like in terms of like technical skill or anything like that. So I don't really know how I could judge it there. But it's a pretty fun game. Unlike, I would say, a lot of other fighting games, it has a couple of different single-player modes. So you have like an arcade mode.
Did you say the name again, Matt? I didn't quite catch the name of the game you're talking about. Could you say the name again? Yeah,
it's called My Hero Academia One's Justice. It's based off of an anime. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
No wonder I had no idea. I probably thought you just said some random words, and I was like,
I might as well have. It's a Japanese title, so...
Yeah.
But,
okay, sorry.
It has some decent single-player modes. The story mode is actually a couple hours long, which is nice. And then you got the arcade, which is just like, beat a couple people in 2 at best 2 out of 3 kind of matches and some other stuff. I think it's pretty fun. It doesn't really seem all that like special, but it's fun for what it is. So yeah.
Is this on Switch?
Yeah, it's on pretty much everything.
Okay, I'm not familiar with the anime, and I hadn't heard of this game at all. Is this for Source? Is this for Source Gaming? You're doing this?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. What were you gonna say, Eli? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
Yeah,
you off.
I hadn't heard of the game until I heard that one member on our staff was just really excited for it, and I'm like, interesting, because I got about it, and I'm like, this just sounds like a bunch of random words smashed together to make a title.
Yeah, I meant to give our code to someone else on the team, and how you have to like get a review in this case was just like fill out a survey for a specific game. So I don't think anyone could come in at the point. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm one of the reps for the site. So I just wrote my address in. And I'm like, oh, well, they'll send me an email later and I can change it or something like that. And then I got it in the mail. I'm like, what is this? So open it up. I'm like, well, guess that guy's not reviewing it this time. Poor person.
Yeah.
Like actually wanted to.
Yeah.
Because it's a
bummer.
physical one. It wasn't a code, or else I'd just hand it off. But
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
well.
That's neat. Well, you gonna give it 3 bananas out of 5, or what's your score? You can't say yet. You haven't played it enough. I always score everything in bananas, by the way.
Okay. Is it like a Rotten Tomatoes where it's like a rotten banana versus a fresh one, or is it number of bananas?
I just think it's like the kind of like fruit with the most possible laugh ability to it. You know, it's like banana. It's funny every time. Banana. It's sort of like, you know, it could be a double entendre, but no, it just could be a banana. You know, it's like, it's all good. It's funny. Bananas. What are you not laughing?
You have a rating system out of fruit, but you don't tell anyone what anyone means. You're like, I give this one a banana.
2 bananas and 1 rotten tomato. That's right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's the second funniest fruit? Rutabagas? Like, I don't know. Like, I gotta think of the second funniest fruit while we're sitting here. Like, that's, yeah. Rutabagas are probably a vegetable, actually.
Yeah.
I never know what a rutabaga is. It's just a funny word. I can't spell it, so it's funny. Therefore, so you know, and banana.
Yeah.
Just funny.
But the other noteworthy game I actually played this week was the final build for Smash Bros.
Wow.
So I was invited through a friend on Twitter, Riley. He has a website. Okay, cool. Go visit that. And I wasn't sure if they would have the final build because I saw some other events were going on in the States. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if this one gonna have them all. Is it? And it did. And I tried out all the new characters. And I wrote a little piece on it. I think all the characters are pretty much, like, they're all fun to play. It's just a matter of getting to know the ins and outs of each one to see which one you like better. I didn't care much for Isabelle, but I don't think she's, like, fit for the type of setup it was. It's like 3 to 4 players, items on, stages are randomized, and the final smash meter. So it's like, and Isabelle has, like, very short distance. She's basically a clone of Villager, except her forward smash is like no range at all. You have to be like directly in front of the person, oddly enough. But other than her, all the other ones are cool. Simon I liked. He has a lot of range and he has a bunch of items. He has like some startup lag on a lot of his attacks, but you make up for that in range or in power. Like his axe he throws in like an arc position or in an arc motion, which I don't think any other character really has, especially for how high it goes. So he has that. King K. Rool is pretty fun, weird. I didn't really. So when Incineroar was announced, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. I wanted like Decidueye or pretty much any other Pokemon, but he's actually kind of fun to play as. He's kind of like Captain Falcon, but he's more fun than Captain Falcon, I think.
Oh, great. Another Falcon. That's what we really need in Smash. That's just like what was lacking is enough people playing as a Falcon type. Yeah, that's really what we need.
No,
amazing.
Sheik everyone's playing as.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's because she's a good character. The difference is like Falcon, oh goody. Everyone's going to be Falcon. Yay. No, I have it in for Falcon because everybody who plays him is freaking insanely dominant. And I'm like, ugh. I like get easily freaked out anytime someone's in a match as him because I'm shell shocked. All right. I've been abused. Captain Falcon and me have history. It's not good. So yeah, I that's interesting to me, but I'm excited for the Incineroar since he's a wrestling type like we talked about last week. So that's cool. Yeah. That's neat. What else? Like that's what was it? 4 new characters you get to try?
Yeah, 4 of them.
4.
Like the rest of the veterans were like in the E3 demo. There were only like I don't know, let's say 30 characters or something. So a lot of the veterans weren't in there, but I wasn't gonna bother going there and playing the veterans when all the new characters there. Forget that crap. You can figure out which one has what differences on your own.
Right. Interesting, man. And remind me again, you said it and I read your article, but where was this demo at? Like, where did you physically go to test it? Was it at a store?
No, it was downtown Toronto. Nintendo was having like a press event.
Okay.
So they invited a bunch of press people and had some
Neat.
snacks and things like that.
Look at you. Yo, fancy guy. It's amazing.
Well, I got in
awesome,
through someone else, to be fair. I'm not that fancy, but
we
I
call
don't
that the
care.
+1.
Yeah.
You got in on the +1. Nice. That's cool, dude. Well, that's great. Like, I would ask, did you get to play did you get to play Mr. Game & Watch before they racistified him? But
No.
you know, since they didn't have him on display at the event, you know, you didn't get one last chance to see him doing an insensitive caricature of a Native American. So that's out of the game now, but you know, you didn't get to try that. So that's Nintendo. They're quick and responsive these days. They don't want any bad PR. So that's neat.
I will say
sorry, man. Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, I will say the final Smash meter is actually pretty fun. When you're playing with items anyway, I think it just makes it better. Because usually, like when you're playing with items, you're not really playing like competitively. You're just there to have fun with your friends. And I think if you're playing with people who aren't like well versed in the controls of the game or whatever, it's better than the Smash Ball, because the Smash Ball is like, okay, the person who gets it is either the fastest character or one of the more skilled people. So then the like all the items are supposed to, you know, level the playing field for casual players, but then that works actively against it. So the Smash meter is just like, you get hit enough, and then your meter charges and you can use it. And that way everyone can kind of use it without you know, having to get the ball. It's also
so
kind of
let me
cool.
ask you this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go on.
What were you gonna say? It's also kind of cool. No, I wanted to ask a question about how it works, but go on.
No, I was just gonna say it's cool because then like everyone can have a meter charge, but it only works one after another. So you're like, oh, who's gonna you know, use theirs next, and at what point, and blah blah blah. So
I feel deficient because I've watched all the directs, but I have a crappy memory, and I can't say I go back and often watch them. So like a lot of this information we got a long time ago, I kind of forget. So some of this stuff's kind of ignorant, but maybe there's other listeners that maybe are in the same position or haven't really paid attention. So the Smash Ball still exists, right?
Yeah.
It's not out of the game.
No. Okay. This is just another thing you can turn on if you want.
Okay. And it just charges the more attacks you land or something to that effect?
So it's weird. I think it works even if you do nothing. It'll just load more slowly. So if you attack, it's kind of like a Little Max KO meter, where you attack or get attacked, and it'll, you know,
it keeps filling, right?
Yeah, it fills the meter. But I think for this final Smash meter, you could also do nothing, and it'll still fill up. It'll just fill up slower.
Yeah, so it is like Little Mac, or maybe like Cloud. Is Cloud's meter like that? I can't remember. Or do you have to charge Cloud's meter? Yeah, you have to charge it actively for Cloud, but Little Mac, as he takes damage or as he deals damage, you're raising the ratio of accumulation. So okay, that's interesting. But it's just a feature, and is that part of online, or is it just part of casual play? Like that, it's going to be a feature.
Well, it's like they have a whole like rule set you can customize like before you enter a game, and it's just one of those things.
Okay, it's for offline play primarily, you think, or? Because
I know they went through the menus with online to see like what you can change, like different items or things like that. I forget if that was like one of the features you could turn on or off.
Right.
But
right. Yeah, they made it seem like that it was, you could try to select rules, and then if other people like your rules, you'll get matched to them.
Yeah.
But if they're noddy with your rules, you might get thrown into a match that's different than your rules. So maybe that's one of those or something. So that's interesting. I like it in a way. I want to see how it plays in real life, because I always think that the Smash Ball is so OP that once I got really into Smash, I think we turned it off most of the time. Now that I think about it, once we got really serious, we were playing like no items, no Smash Ball, or at the most we put the Smash Ball on the lowest like likelihood setting or whatever, because it is kind of a unique feature that you kind of want, but it is like the most ultimate item at the same time too, and you're like so
the meter actually accounts for that, because you're getting it so often, the like damage output it does is a lot lower. Same with the knockback.
Okay. Right.
So it's not just like,
Right.
oh, I get this and I, win at someone
Right.
is 30%. It's like, no, you'll get hit,
Right.
but you won't die. So you still have to
Right.
actually get up to a high enough level as if you were actually
Right.
going to KO someone. So it's
Right.
still pretty like fair in that sense.
Yeah, I read that in your article. Yeah, for people who are just listening and don't know, Matt is a journalist, writer, author, contributor at Source Gaming, and he has a profile of all the stuff he's saying here. And I did read that in your article. It was, yeah, that was informative because it was like I forgot. I have to be honest, I forgot all about this feature, and then I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that, but I'm not like spending a lot of time pre-launch, like obsessing over Smash. I'm like, I will spend 100 hours of my life once this game drops on this game. I don't need to spend the months up leading up to it with my schedule these days, like thinking about it in advance. So it's funny. I'm like reading your articles like it's the first time I'm learning. I'm like, oh, cool. Smash meters, neat. Like, all right, like that sounds cool. I'm in, whatever. So, so overall, good impressions. Like, were you? How long were you allowed to play the game? Like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
It's just like you go to a kiosk and you play a couple of matches, and then you either leave and let some other people come in, or whatever. There weren't like a ton of people there. I don't know, maybe like 50 to 60 or something, and you're just all walking around. So like I would walk away from one kiosk and then looking to try to go somewhere else, and then the person like I'm near is like, hey, do you want to join this kiosk? And I'm like, well, I got nothing else better to do. I was just gonna to go somewhere else, but sure, why not?
Yeah.
So
no
you just
doubt.
walk around and play whenever.
That's cool. Sounds great, man. Sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, it was good.
Informative. Got an article out of it too.
Yeah. I know Eli has to go soon, so I think I'll just like jump ahead to something he might want to talk about, and then
so polite.
Go
Is
back.
it Pokemon?
Yeah, because I don't want to.
Yawn.
I want Eli to have some fun. So I got two things: Detective Pikachu or more Let's Go games.
Por qué no los dos?
That
we
sure
can
is
vote.
Something.
Let's start with the.
I was gonna say he said two.
What? We can start with the trailer for the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So they launched a Detective Pikachu trailer, which is funny because I think it was like yesterday or this morning I read on like my Nintendo news like, oh, they might show a Detective Pikachu trailer like in whatever the Harry Potter spin-off movie #2, and I'm like, cool. And then they just like dropped it a couple hours later. I'm like, oh, well, sooner than I expected.
Well, this news really starts last week when there were reports, like there was a leak where they did an early film edit, like showing to a test audience, and apparently the reports was that it was like actually good.
Yeah,
we're surprised. Like I read that and I was like, and I wrote about it and I was like, wow, this movie might actually be good. But I was really skeptical because from the very beginning, I'm like, live action Detective Pikachu, like, are you kidding me? I thought it was a joke. And watching this full trailer now, like, I'm really excited. I want to watch this movie. They, like, completely remade the Pokemon world. It's wonderful. And there's so many Easter eggs and everything in the trailer that made it super exciting. Pikachu is a cute furball. It's... I mean, it's great. And the fact that he has, like, a deep voice is just hilarious. Like, he's a cute Pikachu with a deep voice. So, I don't know. I'm excited about it. I think seeing all the Pokemon realistically is really cool. I thought it would be, like, a turnoff, but it wasn't. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I'm kind of hit and miss. Like, the story is fine. I thought it was, like, a good setup, even with the game, even though I didn't play it. I think Pikachu, like you said, is really adorable. They did him really well. Some of the other ones I think are like hit and miss. Some of them remind me of the DeviantArt like real quote unquote realistic Pokemon that are like too realistic to even seem realistic, if that makes sense. Like it's just like the Pokemon model with like realistic textures on them versus like changing it up in any way. But I don't know. I guess I'll have to see more of the Pokemon, but I'd probably check it out if someone went with me, because I'm not going to see that alone. I wouldn't see a movie alone anyway, but I'm not embarrassing myself by seeing it myself anyway. I don't even do that with animated movies, so.
I was gonna say I have no horse in this race, but I was like, I wish you guys lived near me, because at my age there is no freaking chance I'm ever seeing this film ever, and I'm like, if you guys live near me, I'd go along for like the riff tracks lolness of it, but I'd have to sit probably like 2 rows away from you guys, because I honestly would probably be making fun of it and laughing at it out loud the whole time, and you guys would be like hanging on the edge of your seats, like, dude, they showed fill in the blank like rare Pokemon for like 3 seconds. You're like, can you believe it? They showed it. And I'd be like, this movie is fucking terrible, you guys. Like look at this. Oh my god, this plot. Like you guys would be like, you're missing the point, Clay. You're ruining it, by the way. But I would like the experience in like a way like that. But I'm gonna have to watch this trailer, because like I don't think I even really conceptualized that this is a live action Pokemon movie, which sounds insane. Like Eli was saying to me, not having looked at it, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like this is gonna be weird. But well, that's cool. I'm surprised you're not more enthusiastic, Matt.
It's just because the Pokemon are really...
Because he's not a real Pokemon fan.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, those are fighting words there, son. You guys got to go to a gym and have a battle or something.
It's just funny that I'm saying that, because if we're talking about Let's Go, then I'm going to be the one shitting on the
game. Nice. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, because Roger Rabbit shouldn't have worked either, but it did. And is it like that? Are they like sticking animations of Pokemon in front of human actors or something?
I mean, yeah, they're CG. I think the difference with Roger Rabbit is that like they're clearly distinct, that it kind of works, because like, okay, well, this is obviously a cartoon and this is obviously a human and they've intersected, whereas this is just like these are supposed to like exist in the real world sort of thing. I don't know, whatever. I'm sure it'll be decent. I think Greninja looks really, really freaky. Like that, I think that's the worst one as far as translation of like the real world. Creepy looking.
What's the number one Pokemon you hope they include in this film, but you doubt they will? Like, is there one that's like, it's just too weird, there's no way they could show it or something, or like, is there any like dream team, dream list of like weird ass Pokemon you're wishing for?
Oh, I don't. Oh, no, right? I'm sure they could make. They would probably do this. There's garbage Pokemon, and I'm sure they'll make a joke out of that. Like someone lands in garbage, and they're like, "Man, this sucks" or whatever, and then they like move in the air, and they realize they're standing on like a sentient piece of garbage. Like I'm sure they could do some joke with that there. Or with other Pokemon, like you mistook something. Right. Like there's one scene I'm looking at with trees, and like there has to be one with like Sudowoodo, which is like a fake tree. I'm sure there's so many like Pokemon they can just make one-off jokes with.
Right. I mean, is there a confirmed list or number of ones they're going to include in the film?
I don't think they've listed it, but I know they said they're going to include a lot.
Cool.
The cool thing is that they show a lot of Pokemon from like across all the generations, so it's not just the first generation.
Okay,
so that's cool.
That was my next question. I was gonna ask, because like I don't know much about Pokemon. Everyone who listens knows that or can tell right now. But like that would have been my question. I was like, is it like a certain era or whatever? Because there's how many Pokemon are there? Like almost 1,000 or something.
Yeah, there's like 800.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a lot of screen time if you want to get them all, so I figured they had to limit it somehow or something, even though you got to catch them all. Not in this film. You got to catch roughly 40 is what I'm gonna guess.
No, I think they got like I forget, I read somewhere, but they're probably going to include at least 100, because a lot of them are background elements too.
Okay, interesting. Well, I'm happy for you guys.
Gonna be exciting for me.
Definitely. All right.
Are you gonna wear your Halloween costume?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Maybe.
I think you should. I think you should. Why not? Why wear a costume once when you can wear it twice? That's my motto. Do it.
Yeah, well, the reason is because I was actually, it's the last time for Halloween, I was Forrest Gump, and someone stole my beard because I was like the runner Forrest Gump when he is like all grown out.
Yeah. Nice. That's amazing. Good costume. That's really fun. It'd be fun to be an army of Forrest Gumps. That's a great costume idea. I like to have like people being different eras of Gump, like or different scenes or whatever from the film. That's cool. Nice one. Yes. You can't read. Yeah, and it would be really like hard to explain to people if you go to the Pokemon movie dressed as Forrest Gump. They're going to be like, that really doesn't make any sense. And you're like, yeah, but I wanted to wear this costume, bro. And they're like, okay. Did you run here, Forrest? Cool.
All right, well, I gotta head out. Sorry, guys. Got another call I gotta be on.
Yep.
But it's nice talking to you all. And
Nice.
you can find me on Twitter at Paul Stallone, non-Nintendo enthusiast.
Eli, do you have Pokemon Ultra Sun or Moon?
I've got Ultra Sun and Moon, actually,
Nice.
but not... Oh, wait, just kidding. I only have the original. I
Oh, okay.
totally missed it.
I wasn't sure if you got it for a review or whatever because they have all the other Pikachu hats in there now.
No,
Yeah.
I need to figure out someone who can download the legendary Pokemon because I picked them up from GameStop, but they're only on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Ah,
You don't have Ultra, do you?
no.
Okay. Yeah.
Screwed. All right.
All right, well, that's too bad. I gotta head out.
All right.
Find
See ya.
someone who has Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon to help me.
Do it.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Well, thank
All
God
right.
it's just us now. No more of this Pokemon talk. I'm not going to pretend I want to talk about that anymore, Matt. You're going to have to like carry the conversation. If you want to talk about Pokemon, go for it. And I'll go, yeah,
Just gonna
Sounds
talk for the next half hour about Pokemon.
I know you could. Anyone who's listened to this show for any amount of time know that you could fill the whole podcast with Smash opinions and then Pokemon opinions and just mix them up. You could even blend them together, I'm sure. Like
Yeah, Pokemon and Smash and
and Smash and
So-
Pokemon and
yeah.
Pokemon Smash,
So-
man. the Smash Smoky Pond podcast.
Poke Smashing on.
Smash yeah. Totally. Yeah, but neat stuff. Well, what else? You didn't quite finish your what you've been playing segment for this week.
Oh
Did you
no,
have
that
more
was
games?
it. Just the two.
You mainly played a Smash demo.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Nice. That's good stuff. What do you want to talk about next?
So I got some other stuff. Some I'll probably save for another week. But there's a rumor the Castlevania Netflix producer is working on a Zelda TV show. Have you
nice.
seen the Castlevania Netflix series?
I watched most of season 1 when it dropped.
Okay.
It was okay. I didn't hate it. It didn't captivate me quite enough to want to keep watching it. I used to be the biggest animation fan when I was younger. It's hard for me to accept that my tastes have changed a little bit, and it's hard for me to stick with an animated show. It has to be pretty remarkable for me to watch an animated show, though, now, like, where I stick with it. Like, I like animation. It's just that usually the writing is just a little bit below the maturity level I need it to be, and I'm not trying to be a dick to say that. It's just a little, like, the plots are usually kind of predictable. And the art isn't enough to keep me into it. Like, I started trying to watch One Punch Man the other night, because everyone says it's really funny. Indeed, it is hilarious. I watched about half of an episode and turned it off. That doesn't mean I didn't like it. It's just like, I was like, it's all right, but I was laughing at it. It was the jokes were landing. It's something about animation, Rick and Morty is probably the only show in several years that I picked up as a new show to me, where I stuck with it and like watched a bunch of it. I was like, oh, this is pretty. Yeah, everyone was right. This is really funny. Kind of thing. But that said, I thought it was kind of good. It was what I thought about the Castlevania show, and I forget what you said about it when it originally debuted. What was your take on it?
So I don't really have any like history with Castlevania, but I enjoyed the Netflix series, and I haven't gotten through all of season 2, but I've been enjoying that so far. I have to get back to it. But I heard the second one, they added more things related to the series that fans have wanted, so that's pretty. There's some fan service in there. But
yeah.
I thought the way the series first started off was good, like humanizing Dracula in a way to like make him understandable. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know if the games ever got to that or anything, but
No.
okay, yeah,
He's always
some
bad,
cool
as far as I
backstories.
know. Yeah, I like that too. In fact, you're reminding me of that. I did think that was interesting, that I was like, oh, you're going a different way than this. And I would have thought that it's not just, Simon climbing the mountain, to get to the castle and kill Dracula, or whatever. It was like, oh, there's going to be some level of nuance to this or something, which maybe I'll go back to it and watch another episode or two. I forget what it was that pushed me away from it. There was definitely something about it that when I just wish I could recall, so it doesn't make for very good copy right here. Like, it was something that about the way the plot started to go that made me get a little bored of it on this like minor level that was enough to make me not click on it when I go back into Netflix and see 900 things that I need to watch, that I was like, maybe I'll watch, and it's been a year and I think I took it out of my queue that I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to watch any more of that, so I'll delete it now. But I do keep seeing it pop up in the feed that new episodes available, because it clearly remembers that I've watched it before, and keeps trying to tell me about it. So I'm like, maybe I'd have to go back and watch at least an episode or two to remember what's going on in the plot or read a summary or something. But I mean, the thing is, like, as you well know, and likely most of our listeners know, like, Castlevania is such a storied and long-running series of games that it's got like multiple layers to the narrative, and it's got like eras and characters that are from like ancient times and characters that are from like like further into the future, kind of like a Zelda almost, if you actually believe there's a timeline for Zelda and things like that. And Castlevania is just not something I ever tried to understand in that level. And so, like, to me, it's kind of comical that like there's supposed to be continuity. I know there is, and I know that the characters are related to each other, and you're supposed to be paying attention to that, and that the games are related to each other in different ways. But I've said it once, I said it again, I'm clearly not someone who pays a lot of attention or puts a lot of value in narrative and gaming on average. And so Castlevania for me, it's a game about a dude with a whip and some sub-weapons, okay? Forgive me for not caring about what the story is of why I'm trying to kill Dracula or how it relates to my family history. Like, I'm like, I don't care. Like, there are demons and monsters and skeletons, and I got to kill them. That makes a lot of sense. Like, kill those things that are in my way and go get Dracula, and that's as far as I've ever gotten into it. So I'd be curious to like maybe watch season 2 if you're saying they changed it, and like maybe try to pick up on whatever they did with the narrative, because like I only have the smallest level of, even though I've played a ton of Castlevania games, like I only have the smallest perception of what the real story is. I mean, they were already losing me in Castlevania 3 on NES when they introduced Alucard, and I'm like, oh, it's his son. That's cool. That's about as far as I got with caring about the plot. I was like, okay, his son is mad at him and wants to kill him. Daddy issues. That's classic. I liked Star Wars too. That was cool. Like, oh wait, is it the same plot? Really? No way. Oh wait, it's the same as the Bible. Oh, that's interesting too. The same story again? Huh? Cool. Look at that, Lucas. You're so original. But like, but it's in seriousness. Maybe I'll check it out. The animation seemed good. Yeah. And that's a saving grace. It didn't look like crap. It looked like kind of dark, kind of evil. They showed some like cool bosses and stuff like that. So maybe so, maybe not. So
speaking of that, the guy the producer who worked on that supposedly is working on a Zelda TV show based on a website called The Wrap. I don't know how valid their sources are or whatever, but he says he's working on another iconic Japanese company to adapt their video game franchise for a TV show, and Nintendo said they wanted to adapt their properties for TV and like all different forms of media. And there was like quite a few years ago, like a live action Zelda TV show rumored, which I don't think is going to happen. And this probably devolved into this. So a lot of things point to a Zelda TV show. And apparently he's going to announce it this week on Friday. So we'll find out what that is pretty cool, or pretty recently.
What are you saying he's going to announce?
He's announcing his next TV show he's working on, and a few signs point to Zelda.
Very interesting.
So would you be interested in that?
Well, excuse me, princess, but I already have a Zelda TV show
I mean,
that I
a good
love.
one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Even as a child, I tried watching that the Zelda, the Supercade and the Zelda TV, the Zelda animation. And they were below my standards back then because we had a little thing called Bugs Bunny that like set the bar very high. And little did I know as a kid that show was already like 20, 30 years old, and it was like way better than all this other garbage. And I would somehow know that I was like, this stuff isn't that good. Like compared to I just want to watch Bugs Bunny. That's way funnier, But yeah. So are you saying it's rumored to be live, or are you saying it's rumored to be an animated property like the Castlevania?
It's just rumored.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, it's just rumored that the project he's working on is Zelda.
Yeah, I would be much more, I can say without pause, interested in seeing an animated version of Zelda than I like in the style of maybe a more mature Castlevania style experience than I would a live action. Live action to me, I just like. I can't even get my head around it. Like I'm like, oh God, like how bad could it be? The answer, very bad.
The best live action Zelda is called The Legend of Neil, and it's hilarious, and you should all go check it out. It's a web
I never heard of it. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard of it. That sounds neat. I'll have to remember to look that up. That sounds fun. Like I just because anytime you try to do like fantasy stuff, it's such a hard line to walk. I mean, for God's sake, like people like Labyrinth failed by Jim Henson.
That is a lot of money.
Lord of the Rings did it.
Dumped in it.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Like hundreds of millions.
And some of us would say it's a failure. But no, I hear you. Like, that's really tough. Yeah, and you have to like, and you have to like make your whole movie be CGI and have a willing public willing to watch a movie that's mostly CGI, which some of us turned up our noses and we're like, these movies are kind of bad. Like, see, I'm like, I just hit me that I'm like the Mike of this podcast when it comes to movies. Like, I will happily be the Mike. And I'm like, yeah, the Lord of the Rings movies, if you like those, like, I don't know, we really need to talk. It's like my feeling. I'm like, they're kind of bad, but at least the first one's okay. I'll give it that. But we not save it for the movie podcast. But like, the third one, it's all CGI. The whole movie is a fucking CGI reel. But I guess I can be stodgy about this stuff, Matt. And to me, I don't really see why we need a live action of Zelda or a cartoon of Zelda. Like, I guess that's my gut reaction is like, well, why? Like the games are meant to be mysterious and have this kind of like endless repetitive mystery to them. And so then I think to myself, well, what's the good in doing a show like about it? Like because the whole thing is like playing the game and discovering that it was Hyrule after all every time, but like I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'd want to know more before I commit either way on my feelings toward it. I'd want to see maybe at least a trailer, to get a flavor. Like the flavor is so important. Like what direction do you go? Do you go excuse me, or do you go like, Castlevania, like take like really twist it on us? And like Ganon isn't as dark as you expected. Ganon is trying to get the Triforce of Power because he really wants to save Hyrule, and he's just got a twisted vision of like how to do that, and Zelda and Link like don't fully understand Ganon's motives, and play with the roles, play with the triangle, of the relationship a little bit, and give me something to be interested in, because otherwise I'm just like, big baddie, and a hero and a princess, who are going to be trying to stop him. I don't know. How about you? I mean, are you into it? Because I mean, the Castlevania thing's pretty good. It's decent. At least it doesn't make you hate Castlevania. So
yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I think something like Castlevania would work better because I don't know. It just seems like it's a better way to have not more narrative. I don't want mature. The word mature gets overused, but I don't even mean like a dark sense. But it seems like Castlevania is more open to have like a more mature, I guess, story.
Sure.
something that has
Absolutely.
some kind of teeth to it. Whereas, like, I don't know, like there's nothing wrong with, you know, your typical hero doing this or that, but all I can think of is like they just make an animated version of Ocarina of Time, and it's like, well, getting the 8 MacGuffins and the other 3 jewels is fine for a video game, but it would also be like pretty boring to just watch that in a TV show. Like, oh yeah, you got to go to the water temple next, and this one and that one. It's like,
Sure.
Don't do a direct adaptation. Like, don't have, like, you can have your MacGuffins or whatever if you want, but
Right.
like, don't make it so you're stuck to it.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. I agree.
You can use like the baseline of the 3 characters and maybe obviously go to dungeons at some point and, you know, face different adversities, but don't make it like you necessarily have to get X amount of things. Like, don't set it up whereas, oh, Link has to get the 6 things of whatever the hell to kill Ganon. It's like, no, that's like, you're gonna make me that less interested in watching. Make it so it's not predictable.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think these days television, I think, okay, to answer that, you raise a great point. And like, I think television has gotten so sophisticated and
I don't even watch most of these shows. It's just like that people are going crazy for, like Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or all this other stuff. But like, I can already see like limitations if they try to set themselves up with that. It's like, no, just don't. Because I already saw people do it in fan films, and it's like, no, this is just
it's boring and
you're
stupid.
Making a shorter version of the game, and that's not fun to watch. A shorter version, and it's worse.
No, absolutely. I think that's my point. I mean, I think television is as big as movies is in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of money to be made in it, and like the sophistication of the Castlevania show, and I use that word lightly, but it's far more sophisticated than like doing the thing you're afraid of that you were mentioning with Zelda. Like, it's way more sophisticated than that. Like, you just alone that you give Dracula a character other than, you know, like, it's like, oh no, you made it have a story. Like, you know, like there's a story here and you could actually care how it turns out. I mean, I don't think anybody but the worst or most cash-in producers and production studios would even consider a route like you were saying you're afraid of. I think everybody knows now, like you said, Game of Thrones. I mean, TV has changed. TV has changed in our lifetimes so drastically, it's unimaginable. The crap I put up with that I watched as a child is laughable when I go back and look at some of it. That is like, God, this was so brainless. This was so lowbrow. This was so written for the lowest common denominator. And even middling shows now, stuff that I turn my nose up on Netflix is far better in a lot of cases than some of the shows I watched as a kid in terms of the at least the attempt at depth of plot. And so I don't think they would make that mistake. Not if they're putting any kind of serious money into it.
And I trust that this guy would make a good show. I'm just like just speculating, of course. But go on.
Right. No, yeah. Like, I mean, they're not going to, if this was going to be a Saturday morning thing, you know, which is, I guess, an outdated concept. I don't even think there are Saturday morning cartoons anymore, but I don't know. But like, you know, then I would be like, no, or, you know, or like an after school type of thing, you know, with like brainless, like episodic. But I mean, even that changed because the Batman, the animated series and stuff like that was actually decent writing and decent plot arcs and stuff like that. So I just don't think we have to really worry about that because that would just be a train wreck. If they sign off on the license, Nintendo guards the frick out of their IPs. They've had their fingers burned on signing off on stuff that they shouldn't have, you know, and they are not like that anymore. You know, they go to quality lengths to try and keep the winning streak going, you know, in the last several years here, that they've managed to build up on a lot of fronts anyway, you know, and so I just wouldn't worry about that. It would be more, shows can fail for other reasons than that, you know, that it just doesn't work or it starts out good and, you know, you know, maybe it just doesn't play as well as it is in the written development. I mean, animation, everybody knows, is famously long in development. It is not a quick thing to develop and drop, you know, unless you're South Park, which is, you know, a phenomenon. You know, every other show gets its butt kicked by South Park because the way they chose to do that show. And that's because the technical direction they chose to go with it, you know. I mean, you're not going to put the insane amounts of money into an animated show that you have to put into it to get a quality product, and then like be like, yeah, and let the plot can be whatever. Like the plot can be whatever with our number one IP. You know, like, or at least tie for our top IPs. You know, like I'm not worried about that. It's more of like, if you asked me to write like a treatment of like how to do a Zelda TV show, I would probably throw out most of the stuff from the games, and I'd say, what's the most interesting things about Zelda? Well, I'd have to admit time travel has become a major factor in Zelda. I'd say, well, not all the games, but if you consider the series as a whole, that's one of the most interesting things.
You don't even need time travel to be specific. You can like another universe or world or something, because there's the dark world, which isn't, time travel. It's just like an alternate universe of some sort. I could see.
Hey,
that.
Why not have both?
Basically,
why not? I have both. I say, if I was the director, like, why not have season 1 be the dark world, and then season 2, the big reveal is, oh yeah, and there's time travel. Oh yeah, and by the way, like, and do that.
I think the best thing
what
they
else?
can do is just take ideas across Zelda and then just make something out of that. Like, obviously you have the 3 characters in the Triforce and the different races and dungeons, all as like concepts, and then make something wholly different from that. I don't know how the Castlevania stays true to the games in what senses, other than like characters and whatnot. Like, as I don't know if the story progresses in the same kind of way or whatever, but just do that. Take ideas from all the games and then mix it.
My impression is that like Castlevania is not that dissimilar to the way Zelda plays. Like that, it's like, well, it's this endless story, this endless cycle, of different characters fighting their way through a family tree, and then different games take place in different parts of the timeline and different ancestors and different lineage and all that stuff. So it isn't that far off from Zelda in that sense. It's like, well, yeah, like. That's Zelda. Zelda's a little more ambiguous. Like, that's really the big difference. It's like it's more ambiguous, and they write themselves into a corner and then write themselves right out of that corner with the way they structure Zelda. It's like, oh well, we'll just insert another game in here. Like in the timeline. Like somewhere else. To explain this way. Or add to the story without really bothering to worry if it fits anymore. So
well, that'd be my other concern. I haven't finished Castlevania Season 2, so this isn't a spoiler. I don't know if they killed Dracula at the end of it, but I do know they greenlit a 3rd season. So let's say they did. Where do you go from there? And that's my issue with, let's say, the Zelda show. If season 1 is, hey, they go kill Ganon, and then they get greenlit for season 2 because it does well what the heck do they do from there? Do they do
number one, they're not going to. Yeah. They're not going to kill Ganon. I mean, no way. They would never.
Well,
or he just resurrects. It doesn't matter.
I guess, but it's like, you seal him, and then season 2 starts off, and 2 episodes in, he's resurrected. It's like, okay, well, that just feels like you're gonna go through the same motions again. I don't know. I'm not a TV writer, and I don't know how people do this. I will say, I think something that would probably work better, that people would probably hate me for. A Smash TV show would be cool, because you can make up whatever the heck. I'm sure it'd be a licensing nightmare, even with Nintendo's own. But I think Fire Emblem would probably work better. And
Fire Emblem would probably be a pretty good show.
Because the thing there is all about territory and conquest and all this stuff. So you could have the first season is, people are trying to take over your land and they're trying to defend it or blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure some fans will probably call me out or whatever. I haven't really played the game, so whatever. But it doesn't really seem like there's one central villain every time. It seems like it's any other person, which makes sense because you're dealing with supposed countries in this make-believe world, so you can always have a different one, and it won't feel weird because other lands exist versus Ganon is always showing up in the game. So if you got rid of him, it's you can't really bring him back because it would just feel cheap. So I think Fire Emblem works that way. Plus, the game is also about characters dying, so it could just be Game of Thrones there. You just kill off some characters. It's permadeath.
Absolutely. Hey, you're right. I mean, like the only strike, I mean, the obvious strike is that
Plus
you're
it's-
right. Fire Emblem is not a terrible idea for a TV show if Nintendo's looking around at their properties. Problem,
Plus, it's hot
hardly anyone
still.
knows what anyone knows what Fire Emblem is in the real world. Like, outside of Nintendo nerds, like that's the problem.
It did
Zelda,
really.
everybody knows what.
It got a lot of
Yeah.
people from the mainstream in the games, but I see your point. Like, it's obviously not ingrained in our pop culture the way like Zelda or Mario is.
Yeah, not even close. I mean, not
No.
they. Yeah,
Hands down, no.
you could do like you could just go to people on the street, yeah, and like just anybody up to the age of 50 knows what Legend of Zelda is.
Mhm.
Like I'd say you could get like as high as a 1 out of 2 response of that people would know it's a Nintendo video game, or even more than that. They'd be like, oh yeah, I played one of them, or my brother played, or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, but like Fire Emblem. I bet you would get a 1 out of 40 response of man on the street, like knowing what it is, or lower. Like they'd be like, I don't know. Is it a new TV show? That would be what every single person would say. Fire Emblem. Is it a clothing line? No.
Well,
It's,
it depends what kind of audience they're going for, right? Because I mean, like
Sure.
Castlevania, you could. I mean, it definitely ranks higher than Fire Emblem, but
Yes.
where was I going? With
Yes.
this?
Castlevania.
I don't know. I mean,
Castlevania
just
has-
Fire Emblem. I think Fire Emblem TV show would still have like plenty of people that it would be successful with. Obviously, it wouldn't cater to or get as many eyes as like Zelda as far as people who recognize it, but I think it would still
Sure.
be popular. But yeah, if Nintendo wants to get more eyes from people on their products, then Zelda makes more
Yeah.
sense.
that amount of money, yeah. I mean, but the Fire Emblem TV show is not a terrible idea if you had like this, if you could do it on a minuscule budget and take a gamble on it, because I just think that we all know that's how TV shows get greenlit. It's not necessarily about whether is it going to be good or whether it's a good idea. Because like Fire Emblem, yeah, dude, like I mean, it's more fertile for writing off the top of my head, you're right, than Zelda in some ways, but maybe someone would disagree, but I'd be like, no, I completely see your point, but money decides everything. It's like AAA game development, and TV shows are the same way, in terms of like, well, what are, we got to recoup our investment here is the first thing that the executive that has to sign off is going to say, so yeah, it's tough, but it's a tough call. I don't know, we'll see on a Zelda TV show. I would check it out, but I would have a lot of fear and reservations that it's going to suck. That would be my worst worry.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go into it negatively and hope to be surprised, probably.
I think at the very least it'll be average. I would expect that
I hope
much.
so.
I don't think it'll be
I would
like.
hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
I guess we will possibly maybe find out this week. Or not.
Potentially, possibly, maybe. Unless you
It
think
won't be-
it's
it won't
it
be-
might be another series. What other
Yeah,
series could
well,
it possibly be?
I
If
mean,
it
I
was
don't know.
something else, like
I
kind
haven't
of
followed the
Nintendo.
news, so I can't even read the tea
Oh,
leaves. I haven't been following that news.
Oh, it was
You know?
just the hints were basically like a Japanese video game series.
Katamari Damacy, really awesome game. Really awesome game. Super funny. It's already practically a movie when you play the game. Just saying. Resident Evil, already a movie. Turn it into a TV show. Never know. You never know. But yeah,
They're making a
every
monster-
series
yeah.
ever. What's that?
I was gonna say they're making a Monster Hunter movie
Oh yeah, I heard that. That's
after like the
interesting.
17 Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised.
I've never
It's still
watched
gonna
a
be
sing-
weird.
I've never watched a single one of those Resident Evil movies. I've heard they're pretty bad, so I've never even dove into a single one. I've never felt the pull,
Yeah.
But yeah. One of my friends is really into Monster Hunter. We used to play it together, and I got over it, and he didn't. And is like the kind of guy who plays 500 hours of every single episode. Goes G rank, everything, and is just like fucking obsessed with it.
Is it
And
Flea?
so No. I respect everyone's passion for the series. I just found it when I played 100 hours of try, and then 4 came out, and I tried to get into it. It was the same game with new mechanics, and I know that describes a lot of video games. For the record, I'm well aware of that. It just didn't work for me. That I was like, I could get into this if I tried, but it's so similar. Like I was like, this is just so similar to like Monster Hunter Try. Like it's neat, they innovated. I really liked Try. I played a ton of it. I played it with all my friends. You know, we would get together and like bring TVs in the same room and play it. But like, I don't know, you know, like it didn't work for me. But I could, like I was saying about wishing you guys lived closer, that I could go to the Pikachu movie and then sit there and laugh at it, and make fun of it at least. But at least I could go see it. Like, I bet I will go see Monster Hunter with my friend that's that into it, because he's a grown up adult, and he ain't going to see Monster Hunter without somebody to go see it with. And Garrett and his wife, she's going to be like, son, please, I am not going to see that film. Like, and he's going to be like, but I want to go see it. I want to see if they like do the cats right or whatever, you know. And I'll be like, yeah, the dancing kitty. That's the most important thing about this film. Yeah, totes.
Watch, it's gonna be in like a Mega Man suit or some weird thing that makes no sense.
Oh my god, it'll be great. It'll be great. I'll happily go, even if it's freaking awful. I like films, so I mean, you know, I'll try.
It can't be that bad. All you can go in expecting is that they'll kill monsters. It's Jurassic Park the movie in reverse. Sounds like a pretty like at that point to me, it's like, who cares too much about the story? You're there basically for the monsters and the fight.
You're a more open-minded person than me, because the same reason I grew up playing Rampage, thinking Rampage was one of the best video games I ever played. Did I go see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in Rampage? No, Matt. No, I did not. There's a reason.
That's true. But dinosaurs are a lot cooler than a stupid gorilla and like a fake lizard.
No, Rampage was one of the seminal arcade video games of my childhood. I would go on my paper route and deliver papers and take the money I collected and go and put it straight into the Rampage machine at my pizza parlor. But that said, I still was like, there is no way you can make a movie out of that. Like, what is it going to be about? Like, monsters knocking over buildings? Like, really? Yeah.
Yep.
So, anyhow. So yeah, what else is in the news, my friend?
I think we'll just do one more thing and then end it there.
Alright.
So apparently the Smash DLC characters have been decided. Sakurai announced this on his Twitter. He also decided to tell people, piss off. I was gonna make a joke. I failed at it. He basically told people to stop messaging him because the things are already decided. So stop emailing him Waluigi and whatnot. Poor guy. But yeah, so what happened was he said Nintendo picked basically a pool of characters, and he chose which ones he could make a fighter or not. So all of those 5 characters are now planned for the next year.
That, to be the skeptic, that could be true, and it's worth saying that if he says so, I guess I believe it. But it could also be exactly what he's talking about, that he's tired of being told and like, you know, emailed, and every single, like, these days everything turns into an internet campaign. Like, let's all make an internet campaign. You know, he's like, we got to shut this down. I'm tired of it. If I want input, I will ask for it.
Yeah, he actually said something like that. He's like, if I want input, I'm not representing him well because I don't have the quote here.
Sure.
But he said something along the lines of that too. Like, if we'll ask for input, then you can message us.
Yeah.
And it was funny because apparently he only wrote that in English and not Japanese as well. So it's pretty much like, the English people, you should shut your mouths, please.
Shut up. Yeah, please shut up. Please,
dumb
shut
Waluigi and Goku and SpongeBob aren't getting in, so stop pissing me off.
Yeah, because like everything these days is that, and being a little older and not part of that, like, kind of like social media stuff, like, I find it a little distasteful, and I can completely see a Japanese company being like, we really appreciate your enthusiasm, but like, this is insane, because like every week there's another internet campaign to do something, and it's like, we can't, our PR department has to deal with this stuff, guys. Like, shut up, you know, like, we gotta make the game.
They made a ballot, which is great. You got to voice your character that you wanted, and there you go. And they'll pool from that for this game and probably the DLC. The thing is, you can campaign for a character all you want as far as I care, but just don't at the creators, because you're not going to do anything. One, if you're an individual, it's not really going to show how many people care, because it's just you're one of thousands, and that really means nothing. So it's ineffective there and annoying to the guy. And if you want to be effective, then do what the Bring Back K. Rool Twitter did. They made like a whole campaign. They had people follow. I don't know. I didn't really follow it too closely, but they clearly made a concerted effort. And
they probably added him though. I don't know, but they probably were atting the shit out of him, Like, but I hear you.
I think they probably messaged him at some point, but it's not just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna message you every day in hopes that you'll, actually add this character, when they won't, because you're just the one person, and then they'll block you anyway.
Yeah.
So
I hear you, and I agree with what you're saying. I could just see it being the case of like if it was me and I was a creator like him and I have complete control, I am the director. I get to make the decisions, with some input from the mothership of the company, but mostly I'm the director and I'm the guy calling the shots. I would have no compunction about lying at this point. I'm dead serious. I'd be like, what we got to do, guys? I don't have time to respond to all this crap. And everybody, y'all keep each day. Everyone comes in the office and is like, did you see the new thing on the internet? No, I didn't. But you know what? I don't care. I need to sit here and work on some nuance of rebalancing some really arcane little thing about the game that we discovered last night. I don't have time to be reading some kid from America's petition of why his favorite character from Portal should be in the game. It's good grief. Leave me alone. You know what? We got to shut this down. Let's just say it's over. Let's say it's done. And we got to keep a tight ship here, everyone. So don't screw up and let it be known later that it wasn't decided, because when you were saying with the ballot, how they had the ballot for the hazard of having the ballot is what happened last time, which is some people are happy and then a lot of people are inevitably butthurt because we are video gamers who get butthurt over everything. And it's you have this ballot. If you do another ballot, well, you just run the same risk of that. No matter what comes out the other end, you got good, bad, everything PR, and everyone's like, oh, why didn't my character win? Clearly we can tell this character had the most votes. What's up with that? Wah, wah, wah. And it's no, we tried democracy failed. Let's just go back to totalitarian Sakurai. And
I don't think democracy failed, but
yeah, well, I mean, Bayonetta's still in the game, my friend. You tell me if democracy failed, and we go back to hey, so we'll just lie. We'll just PR lie it. We'll cover our butt and say it's decided. Everyone get quiet. Stay tuned. We'll have something to show you next year once the game is out. And that's that. We don't want to hear it though. It's decided, because it's what parents do to kids. It's
yeah, just lie to shut them up and get you.
We're having Brussels sprouts for dinner.
We're
having Brussels sprouts for dinner.
Oh, I was gonna say it's the famous maybe line. You say maybe when you really mean no, but you just want to get someone off your back, so you just say maybe because you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think they probably do have it planned because I don't know. Maybe they didn't have it planned before, and they were just going one by one and figuring it out as they go. Whereas this time they're okay, we did DLC before. It was. Let's maybe not from our perspective, but maybe from their perspective, they're okay, it was a bit of a mess how we had to handle it. So let's just plan this out ahead of time. We can, commit to doing 5 characters over, a year-long lifespan, and we'll add this, this, and this. We know we can do that. So let's commit to these characters, and then go from there. I think he's telling the truth, and it's just a better way of planning it out. Plus, there was some, I think, other studios were saying they were talking to Nintendo about characters in Smash. Bethesda was talking to Nintendo about stuff, and I think Phil Spencer was talking he said in an interview Phil Spencer was talking to Nintendo at E3, so probably about Smash as well. So it seems like Nintendo went around to a bunch of studios to get licenses to figure this out ahead of time. Here, look, these are the deals we got. Pick something. And then and then he picked it, and then they're okay, we'll stick to this, and that's it. Because they'll just make it easier versus flopping around after.
I mean, I could even agree to split the difference with you here. I could easily see it being they've decided some of them, and then there's a few that are a little undecided. Sure. Maybe a couple of the choices aren't finalized, and they have a list. So they're saying here's the split the difference version of it. They haven't decided what 5 are the finals, but they've decided what 20 could be the 5. You know what I mean? And they're okay, we got a list of 20 here. it's shut. The door's shut. Who knows? If we wanted to open it again, we could. But basically, we're saying we're like most of the way there. The heavy lifting's been done. Now it's like the Amazon search for their second headquarters. We have to narrow it down. But we're not adding anybody new to it right now. Now we're looking at the licensing. We're looking at the possibilities. We're looking at balancing. We're looking at all the factors that go into this from here on out. But we don't need your petition for whatever. Shut up about it.
Yeah. I think they probably did that before
yeah, very
maybe
likely
a couple of months ago to prep, because the DLC starts in February with Piranha Plant, and basically 5 characters, or 6 if including him, means 1 every 2 months, so it wouldn't even be that far away from the next character. So I'm sure they have to plan that ahead further. But
I wonder if those dates slip. Personally, I get the feeling they could slip. If things.
Yeah. I hope it is more structured. Every 2 months you'll get a character, and then I don't know, maybe off months we'll throw in an Echo Fighter or some other random thing, just to have something for that month. Keep interested.
I hope so too, because they got to save this online service, bro. Got to keep the hype alive. Got to keep the hype alive on that online service. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I remain psyched to see the game. I can tell a story about that since we're getting near the end of the podcast here. I had a funny thing related to Smash. Everyone loves to hate on GameStop. I'm not one of those people. I'm indifferent. They're a store, whatever. Stores are good, stores are bad, whatever. But this is pretty funny, and they hate the GameStop department. I went there this weekend because I realized I don't own a Pro Controller yet. And I was like, oh yeah, isn't there that Smash branded Pro Controller? That'd be a good opportunity for me to spend way too much money on a video game controller, because at least I think that the plastic shell is cool. So take my butt on down to GameStop, do some errands around the city, and hit up my local GameStop. And I like those guys that work there. I've seen them for a while. They've been working there a while. They're nice dudes. And I walk in and I say, hey, can I pre-order this? I had looked on the website and they have this Smash joypad on there, or Pro Controller. And I thought, well, I want to order it so I can pick it up with my game when I pick it up on game day, because I don't do shipping. I go pick up games because I like to have it when I want it. I don't want to wait for Amazon to decide to bring it to me at some point. So I stopped in there. I just want to add this onto my order, man. I saw it's on your website. Can I add it? And he goes, oh, kind of funny. That's closed. You can't add it anymore, I don't think. He's like, you had to have ordered it already. And I said, well, that's weird. It's on your website. He's like, yeah, but you had to already play it. I'm like, okay, well, I get it. Whatever. I messed up. I should have put in an order for it right away. How much would it be and when would it come? And so he pulls it up on his screen and he shows me, and he's like, well, it won't be here day and date, most likely, with your game. You'd probably have to come back a couple days later, or we can ship it to you or whatever. And he shows me the numbers, and I'm like, you know what? If you can't guarantee I get it the day when I pick up my game, I'll skip it. Either I'll just buy another Pro Controller, or I'll just live with my Joy-Cons until, I do have an adapter for my Wii U Pro Controllers that I could adapt and use that, assuming there's no new buttons that I need to have, which I don't think there are. I can't really take screenshots, but I'll live, whatever. There's a solution here. And he said, yeah. And even when you come in that day, if we have extras, you could just buy one then. And I said, that's great. I'll live with that. That sounds like a thing. Okay. So thanks a lot, man, but I'll catch you later. So I walk out the store, no probs, go home, do my thing, look at my computer. I have my confirmation of my order from GameStop on my email. And I'm like, really? I'm pretty sure I said I didn't order that. Hello, GameStop. This is funny. I explain what happened. I go through that story with you. I'm like, I think there was just an error here. I think you guys pulled it up on your screen and he showed me what the shipping would be. And I said, that was too much. And he agreed. I said, in fact, I think the thing here is your rep agreed with me. He was on the page with me. I think you guys just forgot to delete the order when I walked out the store, and somebody pressed the wrong button and bang, now I have a pre-order. I need to cancel that. Well, I'm sorry, you can't cancel that. What do you mean? I mean, I didn't give them my credit card or anything like that, but they already have it because of my Smash pre-order. And I'm like, what do you mean, man? I didn't order it. And in fact, I'm pretty sure your rep agreed. I wasn't ordering it. Well, you see, the thing is, if you make an order, you can't cancel it. When it comes, you could return it and get your money back. But I'm like, no, listen, man, I'm a nice guy. I don't like to fight. Actually, I do. But I didn't tell him that. I'm like, but this is incorrect. I'm going to be as clear as I can be. This is incorrect what you're saying. Like, I didn't place this order. There's an error on your end. I don't like to point fingers, but this is not my problem. And this is not my error. It's on your computer. And I definitely left the store saying, no, I'm good. And your guy clearly understood me. He was like, no, I get it. So yeah, come back and when you pick up your game, ask if we have any extras. It was as clear as day. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry, we can't cancel it. I say, that's not acceptable. Can I speak to your manager? I hate doing that, but I'm like, I just need to speak to your manager, man. I'm sorry. I'm not, and it's like, I hear him talking. He goes, my manager says if you need to cancel this, you'd have to call the number. We can't do it here after it's in the system. That sounds ludicrous, I say. But okay, give me the number. I'll call. I speak to someone in another country. I can't ascertain where, but I'm going to say it was another country that provides service representatives for many industries. And I explained the thing again, and the guy says we can't cancel it. And I'm like, I'm going to say that this is unacceptable, and we're going to cancel this. You can't say I ordered something and charge me for something when I definitely did not. I mean, this is just out of control. Lawyer listeners to the podcast, stay tuned, because this is not resolved yet. Because I got off the phone, the guy put me on hold, and he came back and said, "Okay, I talked to my manager. We're going to cancel it." I said, "Good. That's all I wanted to hear. Thank you. I really appreciate the help. Thank you." And I said, "Will I get an email confirmation?" Yes, you'll get an email confirmation. He just agrees with what I said. There's the number one mark that you're in trouble. Yeah. I'm like, good. Okay, yeah. Well, I'll look forward to that. That was this morning at 10 a.m. I haven't gotten that email confirmation yet. So stay tuned, listeners. Stay tuned. And if anyone's in the market for a slightly overpriced Smash Bros. Branded controller, hit me up. I might have one for you.
That is
so yeah, classic, right?
Well, first, the fact that you can retroactively add something to an existing order and not have to enter your credentials is weird.
I know. Struck me as weird too.
Struck me as weird. It's one thing if you put something in a shopping cart where you didn't fulfill your order, and then you add something else, and then you put all your payment through. But that's like me going to Amazon, pre-ordering something, and then it's like, no, I want to add something to that order. It's like, you can't. You made an order, and that's all of the items on the list. How do you go back? That just sounds really stupid.
Now that you say it, Matt, that really is really shady, because you know what? All I did was probably, I'm trying to remember, I think I just gave him my phone number, to pull up my GameStop account, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he just tagged on an order. I never gave him my credit card. So that is really crazy, because effectively that means I could just be going around to GameStops if I knew people's phone numbers and just placing random crazy orders and ordering stuff that they don't want by that logic. Because they didn't check my ID or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is really crazy. Now you say it, because they didn't know me from Joe Blow, the guy's seen me before, but big deal. That doesn't mean anything, it's okay, well, because I think I have to admit, I don't even remember giving him my phone number, but I must have. I mean, how else did I get the
Let's
pre-order
assume
sent
you
to
gave
me?
that much. It doesn't even.
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, how else?
You didn't even give him the rest, which is the more important part.
Yeah. Well, that's really.
Yeah. And then to go on top to be well, you can't cancel an order. What place in existence doesn't let you cancel an order? Not just not cancel an order for something that doesn't even come out in a month or so. A pre-order. Not even something that exists now, oh, sorry, you waited 3 days to cancel an order, Amazon has already shipped it. No. It's not. They don't even have it in stock to be able to sell it, let alone ship it out or do anything else. So that's nuts. Bull. I don't. Oh I know. My gosh, I don't know.
And
I don't
the
get
only
it.
icing on the cake that allows me to not be mad about it, super mad about it, is that I do want a Pro controller.
Yeah.
I just don't to wait 4 days for it to come after I get Smash.
Yeah. Well, you also don't want to pay shipping, or you said extra shipping on it. Not even just regular shipping, but
it's $7 or $8 shipping, and I'm I don't pay for shipping like that. I'm no, I'll just wait. I'll just buy another Pro controller. I don't care about the branding enough to pay the difference. I would want it. It would be cool, but who gives a crap? Like, honestly, like
Yeah.
I don't care that much. Maybe some people do. Obviously, some people do. I in this situation do not care enough. So that's why I took the like laissez-faire, like, you know, if it works out, it'll be cool. You know, I'll ask when I come in. Good idea, man. You know, I'll ask when I pick up my game, you know, and see if you have any extras. And if not, I'll make a game time decision. Do I feel like I want to spend $80 right this second, or do I want to like hang in there and look on eBay and see if I can get a pro controller for cheaper or something, you know, and like and save myself a few bucks, you know, or whatever. Yeah, I know it was classic, like, dude, you know. And I mean, they were, I want to say for the record, since we're talking about this on air in quotes, like, I can say that the rep at the GameStop where they messed this up was super nice over the phone. He apologized at least 3 times and was like, yeah, man, I totally hear what you're saying. That does sound really messed up. And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, I'm not just trying to get out of a pre-order. Like, I'm not like, you know, I'm like, I'm being as honest as I can be. And I was like, you could check your security tapes. We had a discussion and we agreed that I was not going to buy this thing and walked away. And I think it was just, he had wanted to check how much it would cost to ship it. So he did something which started an order. And then when I left, somebody else maybe pushed it through or something, you know, and was like, oh, look, they didn't close that out or whatever, like close out that order or something. The worst version of that would be like, oh, you just wanted a sales number knowing that I can like return it, but you still get the sales number, you know, and like, and you did something a little shady. Yeah. I don't want to think that way about people, so I'm going to try not to.
Well, even
if
that was like, the case, it's like all the people above him wouldn't cancel it. So it's not even like it's limited to him if that was the case.
Right. Yeah, it was. You're filing under like classic GameStop. You're just like, you know, like I don't want to hate you guys. But this policy, this don't make no sense. You know, like this don't make no sense, guys. Like, you know, like I don't know what to say, but get a little annoyed over here, Jerry. You know? So yeah, stay tuned. I'll keep you guys posted. Well, so that's it. That's it. That's in the GameStop news over here. So.
Good luck with that. We'll have to hear back on your progress next week.
Yeah, I'll probably have something for you. For you. So, coolness, dude. What else? We got any other news bits and bites?
I think we'll end it there. It's been quite a long time, so we'll end it there. You can find me at the Mango Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Source Gaming, Nintendo Enthusiast, whatever the heck else that I'm not thinking of. I make memes, so go on Twitter and follow my memes. So there was a Smash advertisement. I don't know if you saw it, where they like go into the cover, the banner art, and they have all the characters fighting in like that style, and they only added sound effects. They didn't have any music, and I kind of feel like that was purposeful because then everyone just added their own music on it, and I think I made like 7 different trailers out of that dumb thing. And same with the adventure mode cutscene. I made a couple of those, so a couple of them have done well. So go watch those.
Nice, dude. Well done. Way to make a meme. A meme. I'm proud of you. I like it. Way to be a meme generator, my friend.
Yeah.
It's a job in the future for kids these days. It's like you can go to college for meme generator. It's a true career. It's a career path, kids.
Yeah, it's called running a social media account. Haven't you seen Wendy's or Arby's?
Yep, meme generators, bro. It's what all the kids want to be when they grow up. Video game tester and meme generator. I can tell because they're all practicing really hard. All right.
And where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me at the internets at the Unoclay tweets. I tweet sometimes about video games from my Unoclay Switch account. That's Unoclay_Switch. Usually lately, it's just about me and how great I am at Gungeon. Occasionally, it's a snarky comeback to one of my fellow podcast mates. Depends on how I'm feeling and how often I turn on the tweets. And otherwise, I swear, I'm going to open a window right now on my computer. I'll put up another gaming video at some point. I have some in the can that I just need to like unlock and launch. So check out my YouTube gaming channel. It's Unoclay Gaming on YouTube. And check out my Rob video from a few months ago. That's Rob on NES, or any of the other clips which are usually like kind of long play, let's plays of old video games that you may or may not care about at all. That's it.
Cool. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on pretty much every platform on the internet. Hit us up with your questions if you're interested in being a guest at Just Another Castle or me directly at the Mango Viking. So until next time, leave luck to the heavens and leave gaming to Nintendo.